All right. We are live.
Awesome.
Hey, I just want to let this play. This GTPI, man, they got some really nice music.
That sounds really good.
Yeah, it's like a nice beat. The flow is positive. I really appreciate this.
And it's calm. I
Yeah,
like that.
it's a good way to start. Get my spirit right.
Yeah. Hey, still January,
Yep.
so still first month of the year. Good
Yeah.
time to start.
All right. That's great. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce to you. We've been playing a lot of this kind of when we open normally, but this is GTPI music on YouTube, and you can check these guys out. They have some great music. So let me welcome you to another great episode of Conversations Under the Hood. I'm your host, Robert Helm, and this is our super host, Dr. Lindy Helm, here. And we just opening show with a little bit of music, and man, I'm like, man, this is feeling kind of good. So I don't want to shut it off, but I know we got to jump into the show, so I'm not gonna. I'll just keep it, let it play a little bit here
Yeah.
in the beginning.
It
So
sounds really good though.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, we're talking there briefly before the show, and we said we were just going to kind of jump into some things. But before we do that, you know how we normally do, is we like to, kind of fall back to what we talked about a little bit last week. So, or recap, as what we normally say. So, let's do that. Let's recap a little bit about last week. I know we were having a lot of fun and games last week. So, if you want to jump into that real quick here while I
Yeah.
share this with our wonderful audience. Give me a second to do that.
That was fun. We had a lot of questions. We had some friends who just wanted to know us a little better, so they put all these questions together for my husband and I to ask each other, and to see if we know each other like we think we do. 25 years later, so that was fun. And there were a couple nuggets that were also left at the table, so that was also fun. So we're trying to have fun while trying to share maybe some helpful, information or skills with you. But so yeah, what was your nugget that you left?
Well, before we jump into the nuggets, let me ask, what was your favorite question? Because we had some crazy ones. I know what my favorite one was already. Before I even look back at these, just so y'all know, I haven't even looked at these at all. Zero.
Okay.
Haven't looked at any of these questions since last week. But I still remember what my favorite question was, because when I watched the replay of that live, man, oh man, oh man, I was sitting on the edge of my seat like I had listened to it for the first time. So, what was your favorite question?
It was, if your partner was a dish, what would
Oh
they be,
my
and
God,
how
are you
would you
serious?
describe their
That was
flavor? That was yours?
That
Oh,
literally was my
Here's
favorite
what-
question.
See, that's what you get for making me go first.
Well, what can I say? So I don't even know where to go now because you took mine. But I thought that was such a question that can go in so many different directions.
Yeah,
It
that was
hilarious.
a funny question.
Yes,
I didn't know
absolutely.
how to answer that, but
Okay.
it was my favorite question.
Okay, well,
Go with your second favorite then.
my second. Well, I didn't even think about a second favorite because I couldn't get past that one. Especially when I was listening to your response, I was like, "Man, that is hilarious, man!" Because again, being able to go in so many different directions with that, you can just have fun with it. Let me just say. So, yeah, I really didn't have a second. Well, I guess now I have to look since you asked me. So let me look at some of the questions we had here. Look at that. Okay, since we were talking about food.
Okay.
I mean, this isn't necessarily
Yeah, the
my
one you
favorite.
put an X next to it.
Yeah, it wasn't a
I've seen that
favorite,
right
but
away.
it was one. I'm trying to see why I put an X next to it because that's all it has next to it is the X. So I don't know if I crossed it off because it wasn't a good one or let's see it. Only eat one food.
Okay.
Would it be okay? Yeah, that was one I think we had a slight debate on. And that was if your partner could only eat one food for the rest of their life, what would it be, and how long would they last before going crazy?
Yeah, and I still remember your answer.
Do you?
Yeah, you said pop.
For you?
Yeah, for
Yes,
me.
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
also.
yes.
And I was like, man, I'll be whew, I'll be full of starch.
Uh-oh. Let's see here. I see a couple peoples. Let's see here. We have Mr. Kenneth Hughes. Say good evening, family. What's going on, my
Hey,
brother?
Ken.
Welcome to the show. Hey, feel free
Absolutely.
to drop a comment or share or a like. You know, we always love to interact with the audience. So that's awesome. Uh-oh, we
Hmm.
got another brother. Mr. What does it say? A1 Boogie. Uh-oh.
Hey, one boogie.
You know who
Okay,
that is. It
welcome.
say love you, auntie and aunt. Why you gotta put auntie before aunt? Oh, is it alphabet? Maybe it's it's an alphabet thing. You see what I'm saying? That's Aaron. I'm just saying. I'm just asking.
Oh, you just want to be mentioned first.
Well, I'm
You
just
funny.
harassing. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's good though? How y'all doing, man? Thank you very much for dropping through
Absolutely.
and
Welcome, welcome.
yeah, posting the comment. We appreciate that. So, all right.
Yeah.
So what was my response to that question? Do you remember?
You said it will be steak, but I was like, that would be too much. For me, you said you
Mm-hmm.
think it will be pop,
Right.
like the porridge, the
Yep.
thick porridge.
Yep. For the
Yeah.
South African dish,
Yeah.
bouswa. I think you
Bouswa.
corrected me.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
absolutely.
Well,
Bouswa.
was I right or wrong? I don't remember if I was right or wrong
Um,
in
I
terms of
think
you
you were
thinking you
halfway there.
consistent.
You were
Okay.
not all the way wrong because that's staple food,
Right.
right?
Okay.
But I couldn't imagine myself eating corn meal all day, every day. That sounds like some serious constipation.
Oh yeah,
So,
yeah. You gonna be in trouble if you eat that. Let's see. It said
yeah,
cut it out. Cut it out. Okay. All right. Yeah. Hey man. You
I'm
know what?
serious.
We be clowning on here, so y'all have to forgive us. Like I told my wife before we started here that we didn't really have a plan for tonight, man. This week has been
It's
crazy.
been, oh
Yeah.
yeah, it
So
went
we
fast.
matter of fact, how was your week? Because we kind of start there normally,
Whew.
like with how the
I
week
don't
was. So
even want
how?
to go there. I was dealing with major outages, and before I know it, it's Sunday.
Yeah.
Which I'm checking my phone and my email every minute.
Mm-hmm.
To make sure that I don't miss anything. But that was that kind of a week. There was
Oh
a
yeah.
lot going on in campus this week.
No doubt. No
So
doubt.
I don't even feel like I had a weekend.
Yeah.
Friday, it was all day long of outage,
All day, every day.
and the following day.
Right.
So,
Well, man, it's kind of like tech on this, right? When we have
hmm
a technical difficulty here, and we just got a little show.
yeah.
So imagine MSU is like the big show. You
Oh,
know what I mean?
man.
So
Yeah.
y'all can't
Yeah.
afford to have any kind of outage.
Yeah, that's
So
true. We gotta be up all the time because you just never know who's taking an exam.
right,
You just never know who's doing your research, who's trying to upload data. It's just
yeah,
24/7.
crazy.
But yeah, this time the magnitude of the outage, lasted longer than I've ever seen since
Mhm,
when I've been working, on
mhm,
campus.
yeah,
But hey, we got through it.
mhm.
Yesterday we had an event that almost took all day. So before you know it, it's Sunday today.
Right.
And so
Hey,
much work to do, so few hours in the day.
right. Well, you know what Sunday mean, right?
Yeah.
Sunday is like a fun day. I mean, at least that's kind of how
That
I
should
look
be
at it
another
now.
day off after Sunday, fun day before Monday. That
True.
would be really cool.
True.
Mm.
So we switched it up tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Normally we come through on our other conversations under the hood page. So I am trying to interact with the people that we have in the room, but then I'm also trying to share this out and see.
See
It's
if
been
it
so long
works.
since I've been in this particular I guess because we got a fan page and then we got a
Yeah, the
page.
platform.
Right. So it's not even a platform thing. It's just, man, anyway, I guess I'm not even going to worry about
And
it.
share it later.
Yeah,
Keep
I'll
people
share it when
waiting.
it's on YouTube. Yeah. So
Yeah.
we'll just do that. But anyway, so let's jump into, you were talking about the nuggets, right? And
hmm
so I'm trying to remember what the nugget was from last week. I feel like it has something to do with having fun
hmm
with couples, with your spouse or with your family, in terms of what I think my nugget was. But I feel like our
Yeah.
nugget was similar. So what, or
Yeah.
was the same
I
thing
think it
maybe?
was similar, but I remember, I think mine was integrity.
Okay.
Do the right thing even when it won't benefit you.
Right.
Always try to do the right thing.
Okay. Yep. Yep.
I think that's what was mine, but
Well, hey,
it's
that
interesting.
definitely is a nugget that is worth discussing a little bit because, um, when I think about that nugget, I think about my week. I think about the things that I experienced this week
Hmm
were trying in a lot of ways. and it's like, okay, so you got to do the right thing, right? So if you're
Yeah.
following that now, the right thing, I think it's a little bit subjective
Mhm.
because it depends on who and what, right?
Mhm.
But anyway, trying to do the right thing,
It
and
has to benefit at least more than just you,
well,
right?
I think making an effort towards what other people expect of you. That's what I'm more referring to, because
Okay.
if you don't like the right thing, if it's defined by somebody else, you're trying to live up to another expectation versus what you view as
What
right.
feels,
Yeah,
from
yeah,
within.
yeah.
Okay, I can see
So
that.
so for me, I'm just thinking about, from an integrity perspective. It's like, okay,
Mhm.
you have to understand certain things are what they are no matter what you do, right? And who we got here?
Things that you can
Hey, we got
control.
us another one, Tammy Burrell. Hey, welcome, sis. How you doing? Good evening. Good
Hey,
evening.
Terry, welcome.
Yes. Hey. Man, we got a couple people through here. Hey, y'all,
Oh
rub
my
knuckles
goodness.
together. See if we can start a fire.
Uh
Let's see. Oh, Compass. What's
oh.
going on, Compass Ion? Yeah. So,
Welcome, everyone.
so yeah. So anyway, so if I think about, what my week has been like,
Mhm.
and trying to do the right thing, right? Because
Mhm.
I believe that your peace is the most important thing. Even though sometimes your peace is not like directly understood by other people.
Right.
If you have to find yourself in a place where you can manage your emotions, and so that you can be productive and effective,
Mhm.
whether it's with others or within yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so when I think about, your nugget, that's kind of like how I relate that to what my week was. Is
Yeah.
trying to do the right thing, even though it's not what you necessarily want to do.
Mhm.
Right? I
Mhm.
guess that falls under the doing the right thing, even when it don't benefit you per
Yeah.
se.
Yeah.
Um, and so yeah, man, I like it's ironic that that was your nugget, and then my following week kind of I had to implement that nugget.
Put a test in
Yeah.
place, for
Hey,
that.
but
Yeah.
so I appreciate that, right? Because
Mhm.
it worked out as something that I could use. And then since that's something that we were able to talk about, now I'm thinking about the other conversation that we can have.
Mhm.
Um, in terms of, let's see here, hold on, I'm sorry. I'm about to miss everybody on here because I'm getting all into my own week. Let's see here.
Finish
We
your
got,
point. I can navigate that.
all right, we got, Aaron says, love the mug, Auntie. Oh, you got
Oh,
hey,
you love the
she's a
bug?
mugger sucker. Yeah,
Hey.
that's right. All right, let's see. Kenny Z,
exactly.
this is my first time here, so I'm intrigued. Well, hey, man, we glad to have you, and I know you a family man, a husband, a great father, so I know you got some great things that you can offer, so please feel free to share those things.
Absolutely.
Let's see here, and
Yeah.
that's Ken Hughes right there. And Tammy says, "Good evening, family." Hey, good evening to you, my sister.
Good evening.
Yep. And then Compass, I see y'all. All right, y'all. I'm sorry. I know I'm kind of backtracking here, but I just want to make sure I show everybody some love because we do appreciate every viewer we get and
Yep.
every comment we get.
Absolutely. So feel free to send us a comment or question or what have you. We are trying to keep it positive and informative
Right.
and a little bit humorous.
That's
So
right. And please share if y'all don't mind sharing because I'm kind of struggling here to get back to doing what I used to do on this page because I was doing a lot of sharing and things, and other people were able to share, which is why I decided to come back to this page today. But
mhm.
um,
Well, hire a
so
technician. You can do that.
hey,
so
well,
you can
let's
just
see. I
flow
got
while
I
you're
got
there.
a technician. He looked like he busy right now though. Let's see. Yeah. Hey, no, don't. Hey, look, Aaron. What did he say? Aaron said, "Get off my auntie." Yeah, I hear you. I'm
exactly.
just
See?
saying,
Thank
man.
you, Aaron.
Yeah.
Got my
So
back. Mhm.
So yeah, so what was I saying? So we were talking about
You're
integrity
not
and
yet.
just my
Yeah.
week in relationship to that. So yeah, I think I mean, did that nugget did you see that in your week at all? Did you feel like that was
Yeah.
something?
I did see that
Yeah.
because, I was confronted with an event that I would have never supported,
Okay.
but I had to think about the results,
Mhm.
and how the results will benefit, everybody else other
Mhm.
than me.
Mhm.
And so I find myself engaging, a little bit with an open mind and patience.
Mm-hmm.
And, after all, the results, ended up benefiting everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I had a really great way to approach, the event.
Mm-hmm.
But in my mind, I was just like, okay, the results have to work out for everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure. So, hey, I'm glad that you mentioned that because some of the people that are here tonight may have saw the post that I put out this morning or earlier, excuse me, today, and it I can don't remember exactly what it is, and I don't want to just try to go through.
Should have written it down.
Well,
So
it is written down. It's on. It's on. The
different Facebook.
Facebook.
Maybe?
But
Okay.
but basically, what it was alluding to was I think it says something to I've mastered the ability to control my emotions through actions. Okay, so and I think it was something like that. But basically, the point I was trying to make was that what I realized with myself is that when I become emotional. Seldomly do I cry, but I know that is an emotion that what I mean that I will have at certain points over certain things.
Right.
But what I do realize is that the way that I have evolved as a more mature person now is to just then to retaliate, which is what I'm most familiar with, in a real negative way, whatever that may be. I've learned to, instead of doing that, I turn my frustration and energy towards something that can be productive.
Right.
So what it has been for me is mostly throughout my life has been like cleaning, which is how I got into being an interior decorator and cleaning, right?
Yeah, that's one thing. That's one of the first thing I've noticed about you when we met. Remember, I talked about how clean your apartment was.
Right.
So you always been a very, really clean person.
Well,
you like to clean.
Well, I don't necessarily like to clean. I just like to be clean. I like to be in a clean environment.
Yeah.
So I would rather take steps to make that something that's easy to do than something that is laborious and intensive and that type of thing.
Right.
But I'm trying to think what the point was, why I mentioned that now.
How you respond emotionally instead of responding negatively or in a retaliative manner, you just turn all those emotions into productivity.
Oh, right. So cleaning was what, like I said, I normally do. But now I recently got a scholarship to participate in a program for operations and maintenance on high voltage, large scale photovoltaic systems or solar energy systems, if you will. And so what I found myself is as I began to get more and more and more stressed, I didn't know what to do with the energy that feeling that it was creating.
That was building up.
Yeah. Right. And so what I did was use that energy to just focus on something that would move me closer to what my goals are. Because what I realized is when you can't control situations, there's like responses that we have, I think, naturally.
Right.
And in myself, it has been to respond in unproductive ways. And so that's like, something that I realize is that, okay, not that it still isn't like a gray cloud per se, right?
Right.
But instead of it ending with the gray cloud, the cloud, it parts a little bit and some of the sun starts to shine through. And so eventually what that does is it presses those clouds away from me because I become so focused in something that brings satisfaction and joy.
Correct.
Versus things that you can't control. So I don't know. That's a long way to just get to something that I thought that I wanted to share tonight for other people. And this is my nugget now, and it's going to be my nugget for the rest of the night.
Rest of the evening.
Yeah, is that if you have feelings and emotions that have been unproductive in your life, like maybe cause you to be depressed or just to not want to do things, not to move forward on things. Speaking personally, I think you can harness that pain, if it's pain, that's negative energy, if it's negative energy, whatever
disappointment,
it might
whatever it
be,
is.
you can
Yeah.
harness that into, you can turn that around. It's like changing a frown into a smile kind of thing.
Mhm.
Um, and I don't know, it's probably easier to say it than it is to do it.
Yeah.
But it's something today and something over this past, I'll say, week, right,
Week. Yeah.
that I've learned to accept and appreciate. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, now I actually can be in a place where I can be so angry that I'm peaceful.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but you make a really good and a valid point. The ability to harness all that emotions and energy towards something productive, where at the end of the day, you find yourself finding joy into what you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
which then diffuse all that negative feelings you were having.
Right.
Um, I will argue that's some elements of emotional intelligence as well,
Mm-hmm.
instead of just lashing out and ruining relationships or making the situation worse because you can't control your emotions.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
there's certainly value to know how to control those emotions and then channel them towards something positive. I think that's a very good point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, hey, y'all leave me alone. I'm not getting emotional. I am emotional.
Yeah, I see that.
But
Composite. No.
yeah, so I don't know. I just, man, it's like,
Yeah.
have you had those points in your life where you feel like a damn light bulb just boom, something that you've been flicking the switch back and forth, flicking it back and forth, flicking it back and forth, and the light just don't come on, and then all of a sudden one day
It
it
just comes on.
illuminates,
Yeah.
and you say, you know what? And well, anyway, I know for myself today that I can finally say that I'm in a place now where I think from an emotional side, which you know helps me. I'm not sure how much it helps other people, so I'll be frank and honest about that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it helps me overcome things that maybe I would not have been able to like deal with,
Mm-hmm.
or come to terms with, or
Mm-hmm.
things like that. So I don't know. I don't want to waste all of our time on that, man. But I
Yeah.
just thought that it was a relevant point to mention, especially since we were there in the integrity and doing what's right and all
Yeah.
that, because it just goes together that you know taking time to, man, think about stuff, right? Put stuff in perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I just realized there's a certain peace that you can obtain that when you don't allow other people to control your emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah.
know I don't know if that sounds right or whatever, man, but it's just,
Yeah. You
that's the
had
easiest
one
way for me
heck
to
of a
say it.
week.
I mean,
I
really,
can
man,
tell.
it's
Yeah.
been elevating to
Yeah.
say the less. It's amazing what 7 days can do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. It's a lot going on. Um, Last year ended a little bit rough for a lot of people that we know. And, of course, the beginning of this year, a lot of people are going through a lot of things, right? And some of it could be trying to find a new job, groceries being so high, and so forth and so on. But the point is, if you take time to acknowledge whatever the feelings you're going through and take time to process, like my husband say, channel that towards positivity or towards something that helps you be productive and, meet another goal. I think for me this year, I'm going to try to focus on that, you know, to be on top of my emotions, acknowledge how I feel, and then figure out how to channel that energy towards something productive. I think that's a very good nugget. I'm going to steal that. Very well said. Yeah.
all right, Compass says, remember, we were all taught how emotions and how to deal with them. There is a taught emotion and a natural emotion.
Mm,
Man, I can't, hey, that's real. Because that goes into, what I'm saying is that, the unfortunate thing is like society kind of sets boundaries as to kind of like what the basic emotions you're supposed to have and
right.
when you're supposed to have those emotions and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And what I realized is I'm just not like everybody else, man. And I've
Mm-hmm.
accepted that.
Yeah.
For me, I had to come to terms with that because realizing like when people react a certain way,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't react that way,
Mhm.
you can either look at yourself and think something's wrong with you, or you can think something's right with you, or you can think
Oh,
something
because
other
of
than
their
that.
herd mentality.
Yeah,
Why am I
well,
not like everybody else, and therefore something must be wrong with me?
yeah, but you got to think about,
Yeah.
like, people have expectations. Like, at like funerals, for instance, a lot of people kind of expect you to feel some kind of emotions, crying usually, or sadness, or
Mhm.
sorrow, that kind of stuff. Like
Mhm.
marriage is happiness, and all that kind of stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
And and I'm just thinking, it's like, when I look at how I respond to things,
Mhm.
and because I'm not like a person who, like, I have to admit, some stuff I consider after the fact, but
Right.
I try to consider as much as I can before the fact. You like what if I have access to things, right?
Mhm.
Um, but when I look at how I respond in situations versus how other people respond in
Mhm.
situations,
Mhm.
it's just always different. It really is just always different. And I'm not saying it's better or worse. I'm not, because
Mhm.
I don't know. Maybe in some certain situations it's good, some situations it's bad.
Mhm.
But it's always different. And I never knew why that is.
Mhm.
But the older I get, the more I start to wonder if it's associated with how I control my feelings, or not control, excuse me, how I
Mhm.
deal with my feelings and emotions,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
so many people kind of, I don't know, I think they turn outwardly to
Mhm.
deal with their feelings and emotions, whether that means other people have to pour things into them to help them
Yeah.
overcome, or whatever,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But for me, like, I don't find that useful.
Mhm.
I find it more useful for me to come to a clear understanding of that feeling and emotions, not someone else trying to define that for me, whether
Mhm.
they're using some scientific approach or their own personal experience. You know what
Mhm.
I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and not to say there's anything wrong with that, because some people, right,
Mhm.
require those things.
Mhm.
I'm just saying, from me personally. So this isn't advice to the world. This is just me talking about my own personal
Yeah.
realization throughout this week, man. And it's just that I don't think like other people. I don't respond like other people. And when I look at my our past,
Mhm.
it's like my kids. How many times have I been able to save their lives? Like, literally
Yeah.
save their
Yeah.
lives.
That sixth sense
Yeah,
almost.
we're gonna attribute it to the sixth sense,
Yeah.
but that sixth sense that we're talking about is exactly what I'm saying.
Mhm.
How I think and do things
Mhm.
differently than everybody else, most everybody else, because and I can just relate to those particular situations and circumstances, how we might be engaged with friends and family and those things,
Right.
and a normal person is engaged,
Yeah.
but me, I'm engaged with a
Yeah.
hook over here.
Paying
So
attention to everything
yeah,
else,
a
attempting to.
sound,
Yeah.
or a lack of a sound, those kind of things.
Right.
Like, you see what I
Right.
mean?
Mhm.
So, and that's how I feel like my emotional approach is exactly the same way. It's just
Mhm.
not. I'm saying it's better, and I'm not saying that it's worse. I'm just saying it's a very different. And I don't think many people can truly understand me, like, at least from the body of people that I've dealt with. So there's probably
Mhm.
folks out there in the world that maybe just like me, or
Yeah.
beyond, how I deal with stuff. But for me personally,
Mhm.
I haven't encountered many, if any, um, that respond like I do. You know,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
so it makes me feel a little strange. I'll say at times, because I feel like,
Mhm.
am I broken? Is something wrong?
I wouldn't think
Yeah,
so. I don't
yeah,
know if it's a question or not, but
yeah.
it's so interesting because I've had this saying that sometimes when you have an illness, right, you think you're the only person who's so sick until you go to the hospital.
Mhm,
And then you see other people that are suffering from the same ailment as well.
mhm,
So I think the more you talk to people, the more you get to know people, you learn that the average person may be, suffering from the same kind of thing,
mhm,
or may have the same approach or what have you. It's just that we don't talk and share enough to see how much we have in common.
mhm,
So, yeah, I don't think being different or reacting to situation differently from what is expected makes you broken or weird or different,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
It's just, I think it's just part of life.
mhm,
But because everybody's unique in their own way, yet at the same time, we have so much in common. and in all corners of the globe. So, um, yeah, I think, there's we just don't converse enough to find all of those common, key points that makes us have a lot in common than,
Right.
what's different.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you said two things though. Just realizing that and then taking time to process whatever feeling you're going through and allowing yourself to be yourself, to react authentically instead of being faking the reaction because you want to fit what society is expecting from you.
Right.
I think that's more problematic than to just be yourself and react genuinely.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah, I think society has done a good job. Our parents, our peers, what have you,
Yeah.
has done a good job at putting parameters in, and that's what I'm like. When I look at it, that's what I see. I'm like, man, it's crazy because I watch people. I don't want to say the herd mentality, right? Because I think people arrive to the same place, just sometimes on a different horse, right?
Right, right.
So yeah, I don't know, man. This week has been one of those kind of weeks. You know what I mean? It's been one of those kind of weeks. It's been a learning week, and in a different kind of way this week. And so it's something that I'm happy to, at 48, to be able to say now that I feel like I think I understand now how to deal with my emotions. Because, and why I say that is, in the past, like I said, crying might be one way, which is not usually the case. I'm more inclined to react, I don't want to say violently, I'll say physically or verbally. Right? Because I'm not a violent person, but sometimes I'll shake it, kind of thing. But you know what I mean? Yeah, I'm like, well, and this, again, everybody who know me know that I'm not that kind of person.
Of course, yeah.
But just to think that, you do go through situations that put you on the edge. And when you're on the edge, I think that's when you determine the caliber of person you really are. What do you do when you're in those situations where you feel like you hopeless? And that's where I was. I was like, okay, so I can either settle myself to feel hopeless, or I can say, you know what? My life is important to me. I can't control anybody else's life.
Right.
And as a matter of fact, your life, you're responsible for it, and you're going to be either the person who sits back and says, I did it, or you're going to be the person who dwells in the sadness of lack of victory. Right?
Yeah.
And as much as I want everybody to win, you can't make people win who want to take a different path than that. You know? And I'm not saying that in any particular way. I'm just saying generally speaking, right? Like people who have their mind set to do whatever it is that they want to do, your influence is not likely to change that. It can, but it's not likely. And so coming to terms with that and saying, it's not my job to change people's mind. It's not my job to tell you who you should be.
Right.
It's my job to show you the best person that I can be. And then from there, you have to make a judgment at who you want to be.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And we can try to guide people and make suggestions and do all those kind of things, but at the end of the day, you still got to make the choice, and you still have to literally make that walk. You have to walk that walk.
Yeah.
So, so that was, anyway, that was my week. So let me jump back to these here comments. Let's see what we got.
These here comments, I hear that. But you're right about, if you take time to just work on being the best person that you can be, make a choice to be a good person, usually everything tends to fall in place, and you'll find that you impact people around you positively, not by acting or giving them whatever they may be expecting from you, but you yourself just choosing to be a good person and always doing the right thing, even if it doesn't serve you. And being aware of how, you impact others around you, which also will motivate you to always do the right thing. Things just happen to work out. You
Right.
know. So, and I was gonna say too, if with emotions, yeah, most of us have been indoctrinated a certain way,
Mm-hmm.
but for men in particular, it's hard for a lot of men to cry.
Mm-hmm.
But there's so much value and healing, when you allow yourself to cry.
Mm-hmm.
Allow those emotions, to process, and then you make sense out of that. So, yeah, it's
Yeah.
okay for anybody to cry.
Yeah.
You know.
I would not argue with that at all
Mhm.
because, like I said, I mean, it's funny, man. Because the times that you would think that I would cry or should cry, I don't cry. And
Mhm.
then the things that I probably shouldn't cry over, I do. So it's interesting because man, a movie, a situation, sad,
Oh
it's
yeah,
crazy
yeah,
because I realize that empathy and compassion
yeah.
they're not the first full steps that I take. Like they are indeed, like they at the tip of my shoe,
Mhm.
right? I know this is metaphorical,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm
No, I
saying
get
like a
it.
lot of people like you lead with those characteristics, right?
Yeah, compassion
Right.
in
And
particular,
and
and empathy. Yes.
and I do, except like I will be wearing a steel toe shoe, where you would be
Mhm.
wearing a nice, beautiful leather shoe, or maybe a
Okay.
slipper, you know.
Okay.
And so when I take that step, I want to be mindful of compassion and empathy because I don't think I'm a unempathetic or uncompassionate person. I'm
Mhm.
just not the most,
Mhm.
empathetic or most compassionate
Yeah.
person.
I think sometimes it's just hard for you to be that vulnerable, but I've seen you being really empathetic and compassionate.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Sometimes. So
I do agree that I am,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm just saying that, like, in most cases, like, if I have to be completely honest with myself,
Mhm.
those are not the initial emotions that make me, like, maybe it's situations because, like, if, like,
Yeah.
I feel for people. I don't want people to go through things. I don't want people to feel sad or, like,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? Like, I'm that kind of guy.
Mhm.
Um, but at the same time, when it comes to lessons,
Uh huh.
when people, especially if they have difficulty accepting information,
Mhm.
I think my mom used to call it a hard head brings a soft
Behind.
pair of jeans. Um,
Pair of jeans.
yeah.
Okay.
So so I don't know, man. Like I don't want to really go too like personal with it, but like when I look at stuff and I think of stuff, man, I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
if I'm the type of father or man that I see myself as, and
Mhm.
I can't really compare myself to other men because I don't really know any other man like me.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? Like I know men who have certain characteristics that
Mhm.
I either
Similar,
admire
maybe.
or that I feel like I portray.
Mhm.
But like in the real like final analysis, like if I had to look at the whole culmination of a person within the realm of people that I deal with,
Mhm.
um, or have dealt with, I don't think I really found too many people, other than actually one person.
Mhm.
He differentiates from me in, in certain ways, but like he would be the closest person that
Mhm.
I could attribute myself to, and that would be Dr. K.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
there's certain things
Yeah.
that
For
he
all
had
of
that I
us.
just didn't have at all, and
Mhm.
aspire for that.
Mhm.
But if I had to look at certain attributes, like a person who had the most attributes that I think or feel like I
Mhm.
have, he would be the person, man.
Mhm. Oh yeah.
The things that he had that I didn't have that I like, I would love to be to some extent like a community advocate, like
Mhm.
and
Oh yeah.
a drummer, things like
Yeah.
that.
A
Um,
protector.
yeah, well,
He was an intellectual as well.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I think I'm a protector to some extent, maybe in a different way,
Mhm.
like the things that I protect against, right?
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, you know, those are the kinds of like people that I aspire to be like.
Mhm.
And and then when I think about, I was just talking to I think Jonasi last
Mhm.
night about Dr. K and my relationship and some of the things that I had learned and understood
Mhm.
after he and I lived together. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Which was a very different situation. Am I missing stuff? I'm sorry.
No,
I
I'm
don't want
checking
to
for you
tag.
so you don't have to stop
Okay.
talking.
We got
But
Tammy
yeah.
Burrell said yes indeed. Yes, ma. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, so anyway, without going on a tangent with
Mhm.
that, Um, yeah. So where are we at?
About
We
Dr.
about
K.
40 minutes in here. So
Yeah.
is there right now? I've been talking for a long time. I know.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, it's been a really, really emotional week for, both of us. But what's interesting, I literally saw you taking a bold step and be a father, that you've always been. But I've seen you literally go against how you normally will react to a situation and step up
mhm.
and did something that was right, regardless of how you felt. And it end up being a really good thing for everybody.
Mm.
You showed up and you were present. You were very clear and articulate about your expectations, and you were genuine, and that resonated. So I think after that conversation, everybody grew. Everybody took something, and I could see it, in everybody's faces, including mine, you know, including how
Right.
I felt. So it is something that you didn't think about it, but it's interesting how, in the right time, you just know what to do.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That's why you feeling like you're unique, it's a great thing. Don't try to be anyone else because everybody else is taken.
Right.
I
Right.
always say
That
that.
was last week.
Yes.
Right.
Everybody is taken, but
Hmm.
um, you will know. Like you talked about those moments where it felt like you had the sixth sense,
Hmm.
right? And you'll be able to, before a child fall, you just grab them,
Hmm.
before they severely hurt themselves. But that's what makes you unique,
Right. Well, like I said, that's what man. This week is, and I know that anybody who's been like following, or that really follows, I shouldn't even say follows, but my posts land on your page because I don't know like how many people actually really follow me because
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
hit or miss. But um, you can kind of tell. I think when I'm in an emotional space
Yeah.
because shh, don't tell nobody. Um, I find myself like I don't talk to people about my
Mhm.
emotions, but I talk to people about my emotions. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
And the only people who will get it is people who truly know me for who I am.
Mhm.
You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And
Mhm.
I'm not talking about people who expect me to be a certain way or people, that maybe see me as Mr. Perfect or whatever, anything
Yeah.
like that.
People who
I'm
know
like
you
people who
genuinely.
really genuinely know me for
Mhm.
who I am and who I have been.
Right.
You know, I think those people can see. Um, but generally,
Mhm.
and this is me looking back at my own timeline actually,
Mhm.
with Facebook because they periodically they send you like this was you 4 years ago or different
Oh
things like
wow.
that, and so you
Yeah.
can see
Yeah.
memories or how I think they call them memories or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so when I look at that, I'm just like, man,
Mhm.
hmm, time is going by, and if you don't come to terms with certain things
Yeah.
and learn how to either accept them or
Mhm.
one of the things that I learned from Six Sigma, right,
Mhm.
is those things that you can't change,
Learn to control them.
you learn how to manage them.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
so that's, like I said, my nugget for today, again,
Yeah.
is
You having a midlife crisis,
no,
man.
it's not even this ain't man. I'm hoping that somebody young out there. I hope some young man
I
that's
think it's a
about
midlife
13 years
crisis.
old hears me right now because I wish
Yeah.
this is something that I knew way
Yeah.
back then. Because when
Yeah.
you master your emotions,
Yeah.
and I say master,
Mhm.
meaning that you figure out how to use it for a positive.
Yeah. Knows how to
You know what I'm
control and
saying?
channel them
Yeah,
towards something.
maybe that's a better
Yeah.
way to say it. If you learn how to channel your emotions
Mhm.
into something, because a lot of times they lead us to jail.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I'm saying, man, that
Emotional
energy
illiteracy can
that
be
you
costly.
go through, that you want to retaliate, that you want to
Yeah.
make somebody feel how much pain they made you feel or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, man, if you can channel that into getting to that next step in
Mhm.
your life,
Yeah.
when you arrive there,
Mhm.
not only will you have succeeded at getting closer to your destination and your goal,
Right.
but you will have, you know, created a substance within yourself
Yeah.
that will help you overcome the obstacles that you still have yet to face.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
and I
Yeah,
think
makes you
that
definitely stronger.
I'm talking about that over and over again because it's like it's profound for me. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's really good learning to recognize when you could possibly react in a way that can be consequential.
Yeah.
You might even end up being in some institution because you were emotionally illiterate. It's really good
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
know when you are in that veg and what to do,
Yeah.
right? And some people do go jogging. I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was saying, anytime I feel this negative energy, he's like, I just put on my shoes and run,
Mm-hmm.
a couple miles.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And he said, I happen to clear my mind, and I'm coming back, I'm tired, but I also got exercise out of
Right.
it. I think that's what you're saying, like if
That's
you
exactly
channel
what
it.
I'm
Yeah.
saying. Yeah.
So you can reach certain milestones,
Mm-hmm.
that you wouldn't
Yeah.
if you didn't channel those emotions and energy towards
Yeah. So
positivity or productivity. Yeah.
exactly, and I'm glad you mentioned it in that way because the other thing that it makes me think of is the your physical health,
Yeah.
right? So
Hmm.
when you channel that energy into something positive,
Yeah.
not only does it move you forward into the physical world, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
But it also, from a physical being
Hmm.
perspective,
Hmm.
it helps put your body in a better space.
Yeah. You got your heart rate up.
All of that.
You got your blood pumping. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so, man,
And
if
your
we could,
mental health. You
you got
got
it. All of those
absolutely.
pieces. And like I said, I'm that lonely fish. Everybody's swimming upstream, and I'm just crashing into other fish and everything because I'm going the other way. But I don't
Yeah.
think I would change it for nothing. Sometimes I look down on and feel a little bad because of certain things that I feel like, well, if I'd have did this or if I'd have just did like everybody else.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but it's just not my nature. And every time I find myself trying to do what everybody else do, it don't feel normal.
Hmm.
I'm not satisfied with the outcome. You know, I
Hmm.
feel like there's so much more that you know what I mean.
Could
Like,
it be maybe because you're a lifelong learner? There are some people, no matter, knowledge can never be enough. They're always trying to find something more. You get bored easily,
I
you
wouldn't
know.
say a learner. I wouldn't say a lifelong learner. At
Yeah.
least not in the context that I understand it.
Hmm.
I would put that in your arena for
Okay.
my scholastic people. Um, I would say for me, because I thought about this today. Even I said,
Hmm.
what is it about me that I see valuable? Worthwhile, like kind of thing. And how do I want other people to see me? Like, I was trying to put like all of that into one little book to
Hmm.
understand or some. And I just realized how I feel like I'm just a problem solver. Like,
Yeah.
and to a fault.
They have a comment.
What's that? I'm sorry.
Yeah. But I hear
That's
you.
let's see. That's not honey, Uncle.
I didn't
Hey,
want to interrupt you,
oh
but
yeah,
I was
it's
getting
sticky
there.
though.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah. Anyway, man. Yeah,
Hmm.
I'm just this week has been such
Okay.
a
So let's give you all a clue because I feel like we've just been speaking in code. Honey, our kids are growing, and they're gonna want to leave home at some point, and they're gonna choose who they want to be with or wherever they want to move to. It's very, very hard, for us to really accept that our kids are growing, and they're gonna make their own choices. And sometimes they're gonna listen to us, and sometimes they won't. And when they won't, when you realize and when you can see exactly the mistakes that they're making, because we just happen to be twice older or three times older, and we've been down that road before,
hmm
it can be very emotional, and it can take a toll, you know. But like I said, Lord of Father, you showed up. I was like, you know what? I'll marry you again. You controlled your emotions, you know, and again, our kids are going to grow. I'm learning to little by little to let go, and I'm learning to accept that they may not take my advice. However, They will learn and they will remember. We don't have to stop giving them advice because they will remember this advice and they will pass it on to their children.
So, yes,
Yeah.
I'm going to stick to my position of controlling and learning to control your emotions
Yeah.
and harness those emotions to do as much positive, fathers who have daughters,
Yeah.
to do as much positive as you can, because some things, decisions, that your children, daughters, will make won't always be what you hope for or whatever.
Expected.
And but again,
Yeah.
that's why I come to say that tonight again, is that I don't think there's anything more important than coming to terms with your feelings
Mm-hmm.
on a personal level,
Mm-hmm.
that you can harness the energy that those feelings, good or bad, produce,
Mm-hmm.
um, in a way that can move you closer to your destination. And matter of fact, I'm glad that I'm even mentioning that, because that was another post that I
Mm-hmm.
put out there for those of you who actually look at the things that I put out there. But it has something to do. I don't remember exactly what it was,
Mm-hmm.
because these sometimes get spurred just by random emotions. But it had to do with just that, man. It was about, you know, figuring out a way to move forward,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And I don't know, I guess all of these posts were really kind of inspired by
Mm-hmm.
the realization that you really don't have no control over anything.
No.
And the sooner you realize that, I think the healthier you'll be.
Yeah, to stop stressing about things that you cannot control, things
That's
that you cannot change, and then channel that towards something that you can impact
and change.
and change. Yeah,
That's
yeah, that's
man. If
it's
we were on
hard.
59.59, I would have just hit end, because that is the perfect way to end the show. Like,
That's a nugget.
yeah,
Right
that's
there.
it, man. Because
Yeah,
that's actually it.
it's
And I don't know what really more to add to that,
mm-hmm,
because again, for me, as someone who in the past has dealt with their emotions in various ways,
mm-hmm,
um, that haven't been productive necessarily, right?
mm-hmm.
Some of the things that I've done have not been productive.
Yeah.
Um,
You should give yourself credit though. I don't mean to interrupt you. We've been together for 25 years. It's gonna be 25 years in August. And sometimes the way you describe yourself, I'm like, that's not the man I see every day. I have one or twice I've seen you, being physically reactive to a situation, which was very warranted. But even then, I saw so much restraint. You know, you went as far as asserting yourself and said, "This is my boundary," and you crossed this boundary. Don't say I didn't warn you. That's as far as I've seen you. You know, so you have tremendous restraint, and I think you're much more aware of your emotions than you give yourself credit to.
I think I'm arriving there,
Yeah.
and maybe I've been there and just haven't had the situations to really put it in perspective. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? All at once, but
Mhm.
you know, I appreciate that, because I
It's
know
true.
that I'm not the guy that I used to be. I'm just like, I guess when I reflect more, man,
Mhm.
these 25 years have been like a blur in a way. They
Yeah.
just happen like,
I mean, we
you
got
know.
together, started making
That's what
babies,
I'm
and then
saying, and it just here we are,
jobs and
25 years later.
everything.
So sometimes
Yeah.
I look in the mirror,
Like, who
I'm not
me?
even sure if I'm 25. No, I'm just
Oh,
kidding.
oh,
But
oh.
yeah, so it's like, yeah,
Yeah,
them 25 years just blew by. But
it did.
yeah,
It
man, it's
did.
it's
And
been a great 25 years. I've learned a lot, but I just reflect back at, like I said, the things that,
hmm
because there has been things you may not even know about. You know what I mean? Like, because all of my emotions are not
hmm
outward.
right, right.
Sometimes I react internally. Um, Yeah,
Yeah.
and I mean it somehow permeates still
Yeah.
through me when I'm not, somehow, but uh, yeah.
Well, the good news is all of us are capable
Mhm.
of the worst,
Mhm.
right? But good people always have to choose what's best.
Right.
Good people have to choose.
Yeah.
So if you choose to be a good person,
Mm-hmm.
you will find yourself always making a choice, doing what's right, showing restraint, you know, um,
If you want to do
and
what's right.
discipline if you want to do what's right.
Right.
And that's a choice,
Right.
right? Because,
Right.
like I said, okay, maybe there are sayings and what have you, but most of us, are capable of just about anything.
Mm-hmm.
It narrows it down to, the importance is narrowing it down to you choosing to do the right thing, you choosing to be a good person.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very, very clear choice.
Right.
And work on yourself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And every now and then, we all go through all kind of trial and tribulations, right?
Mm-hmm.
You may be tempted to react in a way that's not a good way, to say things that are not truthful, to do things that you're just doing it to help somebody else, not to solve a situation.
Right.
And then no matter how easy it would have been for you to do that, if you choose not to do that, because you say that's not the right thing to do, no matter how warranted that situation is.
Right.
I'm gonna show restraint. I'm gonna control how I want to react, and I'm gonna make the right choice. And I'm gonna channel all of this towards productivity or positivity. So this is, I think, what I'm hearing what you said today, which I think is so significant.
You nailed it. I was hoping it was 5:59:59 because that is, I mean, that's exactly, what I was trying to say, the message that I'm trying to deliver because, like I said, this week being the things that are going on and seeing how that you can utilize that energy because I didn't even get into when I said I harnessed that energy into this work that I'm working. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So just to give you an example of what it's been like, I've been doing like three courses a day. Is it 3 courses? It's not 3 courses. It's 1 course, so it's 3 segments a day. There's like 40 something segments in this program, and so today, using that approach to harnessing my energy and just staying focused, like it's crazy because I'm just imagining punching a punching bag, you know what I mean? And like when you really digging in, and that's what I was doing with my work. I was just the madder I was, or not matter, but the more emotional might be that I was, the more I was punching my work to the point where I did like I think today I did 5. I got up at 6 something this morning, and I've been marketing, promoting, all sports, promoting the show, promoting the problem solving guide or the problem solving agent.
And you did 5 lessons?
And did 5 lessons.
5 quizzes too?
5 quizzes.
Wow.
That's what I'm saying.
Wow.
Now, I ain't bragging, but I didn't do that great. I ain't saying I did pass them, but I didn't do that great.
But
you know what?
Yeah,
well, I realized it's been a while since, my last class, right? I've been just using PowerPoint presentations to do these whole courses, or classes, or segments of classes, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
And there's actually videos I didn't realize. So I'm just like because the PowerPoints don't have, it's literally an outline to the class.
Yeah, it's all the bulletins.
Yeah, I missed all of it's a good thing that I have the previous experience because I would have been like decimated. And so so I'm glad my extra energy has allowed me to dig so deep that I realized I was not fully taking advantage of all the resources that were there. So so I think again, my message, my nugget, yes.
Yeah, that's
find a way to channel your energy, good and bad, into something positive, and in doing that, I think you not only will activate areas of your mind and your abilities that you don't realize, and I'm saying that because sometimes we get stunted. Like when we get mad, we don't want to. I ain't doing, you don't
want to. They stubborn or react in a way that can land you in an unfavorable situation.
Yep. So
your temper.
My attitude was this: I'm gonna do everything that I can do to not have to necessarily feel or focus. Maybe not focus because I'm still like feeling the emotion, but to not be focused on the emotion, to focus somewhere else. So that way, by the time I done burnt myself out of energy to feel some kind of way.
Yeah.
Enough time has passed where it don't hurt as bad, or you see what I'm saying, like
Yeah.
that. Then when I get to turn around and look behind me, I'm like, "Ooh!" Now I can smile because the
Yeah.
house is clean. I'm way ahead of where I would have been if I
Mhm.
had, just sat there with the poo poo face and not done nothing. You know what I mean? And so
Mhm.
that's basically my message for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Utilize that energy in that kind of way,
Yes.
and
Yes.
you can smile about that energy after the fact instead of feeling
Yeah.
some kind of way, like feeling like you have, created,
Yeah.
a path
Yeah.
of
Basically, the ability to diffuse any situation simply by knowing how to control your emotions and how to harness that energy or those emotions towards something positive, right?
that's it.
Leaving a situation a little lighter than you found it, rather than making it worse. That is a skill set in itself. And which my nuggets also will be like, hey, life is full of challenges. But let's say you find yourself being stopped out there, you're driving,
Mm-hmm.
just be aware of your emotions, you know,
Mm-hmm.
calm down, do whatever you can to remain calm and positive,
Mm-hmm.
and with the goal of, I need to survive this, whatever it is. I need to survive it and I need to get home in peace. And so, for most of us, unfortunately, sometimes we let our temper get the best of us. And
Indeed.
we end up making the situation worse. And you end up in situations that are not, good at all.
Mm-hmm.
Had only you have learned just to be calm,
Right.
you know what I'm saying, and control your emotions,
Mm-hmm.
and not to give anybody, a reason to do anything.
Ladies and gentlemen, on that note, it is 1 hour and 1 minute. So, Dr. Helm did
That
an
was
excellent
fun.
job at closing out the show.
I
So,
guess,
yeah,
yeah.
you
Like
did it.
if you don't say close the show,
Nope, that's
it
it.
closes nicely. When you
Yeah,
put me on a stop, you're on a
I love
spot
it.
now.
I love what you do. I love what you do, how you do it. So that was great. And no, on that note, that's how we're gonna close it out. I think that's a great nugget to leave us on. And with that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, we shall
Thank you
see
so
you next
much.
week. We
I
thank you so
appreciate you.
much for joining us this evening. And Conversations Under the Hood, we out, baby.
All right. Good
Peace.
night.
Well done, Doc.